said that you overheard a conversation between Mr. Poole and Mr. Bowman, correct? And you said that they made mention of a knife, right? Did you, okay. They said that Bowman said that Poole might need it for a job. Isn't that right?
Yes.
You don't know what job they were talking about, do you?
I'm still confused. No, he just said, well, she just said a job.
In fact, you weren't really even a part of the conversation, were you?
No, it was fine.
All right. And the next day, August 30th, your birthday,
Of course.
you witnessed Mr. Bowman giving Mr. Poole a knife, correct?
Yes.
And you're sure he was giving him a knife?
Well, it looked like, I'm sorry, excuse me. It seems like it looked like Bowman seemed to get him for it.
So you're not even really sure if it was a knife, correct?
But I'm about 95.5% sure that it was nothing.
Could you answer with a yes or no, please? You're not really sure that it was a knife, correct? Now, you mentioned that you worked at Rocker World,
Yes.
and you work as a mascot.
Yes.
And as part of your job description, you have to wear one of the big mascot suits, right? A dinosaur, I think you said?
Yeah, I'm dying dancing.
And I imagine it's pretty hot in there in the summer, right?
Yeah, it's only the cooling system.
And in fact, you passed out several times during the summer while you were working, didn't you? And it took you passing out to finally get Mr. Longstreet to agree to split the cost with you.
Objection, Your Honor. This is confusing the relevance. This is confusing the issues in today's case.
I don't understand how it's confusing the issues in today's case. I don't understand the objection.
May I respond? Under Rule 403, though evidence may be admissible, if it tends to confuse the jury, it may be deemed unadmissible. And this attorney asking questions about how she works her job, that's confusing the issues. Bowman's on trial today, not Ms. Roy Shelby.
Your Honor, I don't believe that this is confusing the jury. I'm merely presenting a possible alternative for further testimony of this witness.
Well, why is it relevant?
If I may proffer, you will hear that the witness will testify that Mr. Longstreet was seen as a cheapskate, pretty much. And this, Mr. Longstreet being a cheapskate, goes to make a material fact in this case less likely to have occurred. If the fact that Mr. Longstreet is not willing to reinvest the money that he makes into even his own mascot, to getting a cooling system for the suit, shows that it's very possible that he could have been taking the money himself instead of Mr. Bowman. It presents an alternative to the jury's theory, or the prosecution's theory.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Right.
First, Longstreet is a man, a female, not a man. And second, again, asking this witness about her work outfit has nothing to do with Bowman in today's trial. Therefore, she's confusing the issues.
I'm gonna take your objection under advisement. I'm gonna let her continue, try to lay some more foundation. You can remake the objection if it starts going nowhere. But it sounds like counsel is trying to go somewhere with the line of questioning. So you can renew your objection if necessary.
Yes, Your Honor.
So as you mentioned, you fainted several times, you passed out several times while wearing the suit, correct?
Yes, it's very hot in summertime.
And you had asked Mr. Longstreet several times before for a cooling system, but he wouldn't grant you that request, isn't that right?
Yes, I've asked her a couple times.
But it took you passing out for him to finally agree, just even to split the cost, correct?
Yeah.
So you would describe him as a cheapskate, would you not?
I think she said different words used, but
As an employer, he was tight with his money, wouldn't you say?
yes.
During your time working at Rocker World, you had to make your rounds often. You had to walk around the park for the customers in your suit, correct?
Yes, I mean, well, I take pictures with the people who ride the World Tour races, but you know,
Yes.
pictures there.
And you noticed that on August 30th, earlier in the day, that Billy Isaacs was operating the tunnel. Excuse me. You noticed that Billy Isaacs was operating the Tunnel of Telluride, correct?
Yes,
But later in the day when you went, you noticed that Mr. Bowman, Miss Bowman, was operating the Tunnel of Telluride, right?
yes, I did.
But from your previous experience at Rockter World, this had happened before, had it not? Miss Bowman replacing Billy Isaacs during the day?
Yes, I mean, well, everyone knows that Billy Isaac has to go take care of her grandmother, so.
So this was not an uncommon occurrence, was it?
Objection, Your Honor. Like a foundation.
Ms. Vaughn?
I think the foundation was laid that Miss Shelton has worked at Rockter World for a while. She makes her rounds. She sees who's operating what rides. She would have knowledge if this had happened before.
May I respond?
Yes.
She has, no foundation has been laid as to whether this witness knows or doesn't know the foundation between Billy Isaacs and Luke Bowman.
I agree, Counsel, can you raise the foundation?
Yes.
Motion to strike the question from the record, Your Honor.
So stricken.
Are you aware of the employee named Billy Isaacs?
Yes,
Are you aware of the defendant in today's case, Miss Whit Bowman?
yes, I am.
Have you ever noticed Miss Bowman replacing Billy Isaacs before on the Tunnel of Terror ride?
Yes, I am.
No. So this was not an uncommon occurrence, as it had happened before.
Objection, Your Honor. Again, lack of foundation.
I think she laid the foundation to ask the question. I mean, the question might not be as clear as it could be, and she could maybe rephrase, but I think she's laid the
I can rephrase my motion.
Yes, Your Honor.
So this had happened before, where Miss Bowman took over for Billy Isaacs on the Tunnel of Terror ride.
Yes.
No further questions.